What's going on, everybody? I know it's been a while, but today, well actually yesterday, the truck was leaking radiator fluid, so that's never good. So we popped the hood and sure enough, you can see that it's wet right down there. Possibly, maybe not. Then on the side here, it's damp. So we need a new radiator. So I'm going to show you how to replace the radiator in a 96 Chevy Silverado K1500. My truck is the 5.0 liter. It does have the oil cooler with the radiator. I know there's like 3 or 4 different radiators out there. You just have to figure out and find the right one for you. I am going to take mine out, measure it, make sure I get the right one first, and go to the parts store and pick one up. I do need to fix this today because I use it all the time. And of course, all my other vehicles are down at the moment. My Miata is, you know, in the process. The Jeep has a fuel leak, and the Volkswagen is being weird. So, not unusual. All my cars always break at the same time. Let's go ahead and get this one fixed. Okay, so first things first, we've got this bolt, this one here, the one right down there, then you have one right here. And same thing on this side. One right there and one right here. So that's going to remove the fan shroud. Now I do have a zip tie here and a wire holder here that needs to be popped off and removed. Actually, I don't need to remove the zip tie. We just have to pop this little clip up to get this wiring harness out of the way so we can remove the cover here. And these are a 10mm, and you'll probably need an extension to get to this, but maybe not. I'm going to use my impact. It makes it a lot easier. Okay, so now we just have to get this off, and I did drop a bolt that I now need to find. So all this is right here, there's a little clip right here. Just kind of pull back, and it'll just pop up like that. Maneuver it out of there like this. Kind of just shoves in there, and then the wiring harness is free. And we'll just remove this, pop it up. Super simple. Might be able to see my bolt down there. Set it aside. Okay, so to drain the fluid, the next thing we're going to do is going to get under the truck like this, and you'll see this tray. And there's going to be a bolt here, which is a 15mm, here on the side right there, and then on the other side. We're going to take that off. This tray is going to pop down, and then I'll show you the fill. There's actually a thumb screw, and if you shove your hand down here, you'll feel it. It's under this oil cooler line right here, and I know it's hard to see, but it's down here at the bottom. The drain plug is literally right down here past this oil cooler. So if you're having issues turning the drain plug, which is literally right here, we just kind of finesse this out of the way, and there's 2 screws underneath holding this up. Now that we have this loose, we can go ahead and unscrew it, and then you'll see coolant coming down. Oh, it literally just kind of pulls out.
This is gonna make a mess.
Yeah, it's just like hitting the chassis and then just... So now we're gonna take these lines off here, which is a 16, or you can use an adjustable wrench, whatever you have laying around. And probably on there. Oh wow, that hurt. Right, then they'll just come off. Okay, so that one's off. You could always put, if they're not coming off, put a little bit of WD-40 or penetrating grease on them. They just haven't been off in a long time. But so far they're doing good. Those 2 on that side are actually a 21. Tyler's gonna crack the bottom one for me. I can do it, but my thumb just went numb.
I can't feel my thumbs when I'm with you.
Feel my thumb.
And I hate it.
Now we're just gonna take them off. Then I have to remove the hoses. And I just use a pair of channel locks. Click, move the clamp out of the way. And then it'll kind of just like pull off like that. Some coolant's gonna come out. You're gonna wanna pop the lines out of your way so you can get the radiator pulled out. We're gonna take this bottom hose off. Same thing. Pull that one off. Then we have to get the overflow hose off. Get that out of the way. Pop it off. And then literally make sure you're not hitting anything. No hoses are in the way. Just kind of finesse your way out. And then boom. Alright, so here's the radiator out of the truck. I'm not sure if it matters if it's 4x4 or not, but ours is. If you have the oil cooler lines, I'm not really sure the difference. But obviously if you don't have them, it would just be less steps for you. Should be the same process, removing everything. It did actually help removing this under shroud. I don't know why I couldn't say that. There's two bolts, one right here and one right over there underneath the power steering lines, and they were a 10mm, same as these here. All right, so we got the new radiator. What I'm gonna do is actually flush it out with some water before I put it in, just to make sure there's nothing in there, styrofoam, whatever. And then we're gonna throw it in. All right, now that that's done, what I'm gonna do is take this opportunity and clean up right here. So I'm just gonna vacuum this up. Looks like these mounts actually came loose. They're supposed to sit like that. So you're gonna wanna make sure you put those in before the radiator. But yeah, I'm gonna vacuum all this up and wipe it off a little bit, and then we'll get to installing the new radiator. Okay, so we got it all cleaned up. We've got our little mounts here just resting in there. So Tyler's actually changing our thermostat while we're here because we've had issues with our coolant temp sensor. Well, not the sensor, but the gauge on the inside doesn't actually show a proper temperature. And we're not sure if there's a thermostat in here or if maybe it's the wrong reading or it's broken perhaps. So if you're wondering where the thermostat is, it's literally right on top here. It's just like stuck in there. Maybe a flathead and just like pop it up or something. Ah! Nailed it.
The only thing is though, is the seal did not come off with it.
Hopefully that fixes our gauge. That would be nice to know like what we're actually running at. I mean, I guess we know what we're running at, but I meant like proper temperature.
Well, yeah, because we changed a few of the other sensors because we were thinking that it was getting up to temp, which, there you go.
Boom. Now Tyler's just gonna replace the cap on it. And once he's done with that, I can finally get back to work and get the truck running.
Because, you know, I've been here for so long. You're right, I'm holding you up.
Oh my gosh, it's been like 7 minutes.
I'm sorry. I've been going through a lot. Just getting fat.
Okay, so now we can put the radiator in. Snag it up. Toss it. Make sure no lines are in the way. hoses. Then your radiator's gonna sit in those little rubber bushings. And you're gonna attempt to thread in your fittings. That one started. I'm gonna pop the hose on. Then you're just gonna tighten them down. It's very noticeable when they're tight because like you literally can't tighten them any further.
Like it bottoms out?
Yeah. Okay, and we're gonna put the clamp back on the hose. Thank you. Okay, so that hose is on. Bottom hose is on. Let's go ahead and get the top one on. Now I like to line it back up to where it was previously for using the old hoses. That's just
how we do.
How I do it. Don't forget to put your overflow hose back on.
So after putting on the hose, we realized this needs to go over it. So we have to pull this back off and put that back on. Make sure that when you go to do it, that this is above.
Okay, so for the GM, you want to use the Dexron orange coolant. That's what it says to use on this truck.
This is concentrate.
Or what we're going to do is fill it up and start the truck without the cover on. Make sure there's no leaks or anything on the hoses. That way if there is, we can still access it. And then once we figure out everything, obviously, don't start your truck with the wires in front of the fan. Make sure those are out of the way.
Or you're gonna have a bad day.
Or you're gonna have a bad day. So we bought the concentrate, so you're gonna do 50-50, which means a gallon of this, and then, what are you doing? And then a gallon of distilled water.
Well, we're not sponsored, so we can't show it.
This isn't sponsored either.
You put a black bar over that one.
You wanna use distilled water, not normal drinking water. Now once you do this, you're gonna want to get the bubbles out of the system. They do sell a, what is that called, Tyler? Like a coolant bleeding system, basically?
Basically.
It's
so
like a big
imagine
tube.
this with a big funnel on it. And it just, you raise the water up above it, and then while the car is running, it's able to circulate and bleed out the air without you having to basically do what we do.
Yeah, which Tyler will show you if you don't have that, like we don't have that. We usually just park the truck on an incline and basically let gravity do its thing. All right, so now we're gonna start it. And Tyler's gonna do his thing and he's going to show you, because he always does this. Like again, I said again, make sure if you do it this way and you don't put the shroud on first, make sure your wires are out of the way of the fan, unless you don't want any power.
Yeah, because this is the power wire, so
yes. Make sure it's out of the way. Tyler just stuck it behind the filler neck here, and it seems to work. If you don't feel comfortable with that, you can always zip tie it out of the way for now and then cut it off later. But let's go ahead, make sure there's, you're gonna wanna make sure there's nothing in the way of your serpentine belt and you didn't leave a tool or a socket wrench laying around. Because that's never fun. So
I think we're good.
I'm gonna go ahead and start it while Tyler's face is in the fan. Also, if you're working like this as well, just be sure that you know there's no shroud over the fan. Don't shove your hand down there.
Especially when you go to put this in to fill it, you don't want it to go down and...
That too. So if you feel more comfortable, put the shroud back on. You can always take it back off. Tyler's actually gonna put it more on an incline. And then I'm gonna look up exactly how much it says the system takes. That way we have some sort of idea of how much we need to put in. And if it's like not letting us put the fluid in with the new thermostat.
Oh yeah, love it.
information. So it actually is showing temperature now, whereas before it wasn't showing anything. It was sitting at like 125, 130, 150, depending on how hot it was. So that's how you change your radiator in a 96 K1500. I know it's probably the same from like 88 to 97, I think, maybe with a little bit changed here and there if you have an oil cooler, if you don't. Pretty simple, basic hand tools, you don't need much. Super simple, super easy. I think I picked up my radiator for 130 bucks with a coupon, so it's not terribly priced, but I think this one will work out just fine. And if it doesn't, if it has a leak or something, it does have a lifetime warranty. The only problem is you have to take it out and put it back in, which is kind of a pain, but actually wasn't too terrible of an install. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope this helped you out. See you in the next one.